Hello, my friend. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm in Luminar Neo, and I did a video about maybe 2 weeks ago. I'll put a link to it there, and it was about how to handle a dark photo, like when things are too dark, and shared a lot of tips and tricks, a lot of comments about that one, a lot of interaction, and so I thought I would come back and do kind of a follow-up, which is how do I handle a bright photo, and in particular, I want to kind of home in on a blown out sky. They are fixable. Not always, but a lot of the time they're fixable. I'm going to walk through some of the tips and tricks that I use in my own images to help you fix a blown out sky. This is the photo we're going to be dealing with. And if there's two things before I get started. The first one is I do recommend always shooting in RAW, and this is because there's a lot more data in a RAW file, and being able to recover a blown out sky with all that excess data that you have in a RAW file is more likely than it is like with the JPEG. The second thing is, before I start editing, I want to look at this and I'm looking at this sky and I see that it's too bright. I like to hit the J key. And the J key basically provides an overlay. You may notice in the upper right-hand corner and the histogram, which by the way, if yours isn't viewable, just click View and Show Histogram. There it is at the bottom, and that'll show it there. But you'll notice these two little dots show up, and these two little dots, the left is shadows and the right is highlights, which follows the histogram. But basically, you get this overlay, right? Red is anything that's completely blown out. And so again, two things. Shoot RAW. It's really your best friend. It will potentially save your bacon. And two, turn on the J key. Just hit the J key. Boom, you get this overlay. And then that gets you into the editing. And so for me, I'm in Develop RAW because it's a RAW file. I like to look at it. And with the J key, I can see, wow, what a mess, what a completely blown out sky. And so what many people will do, and the first step is taking the highlights down, right? And as you drag the highlights down, this is one of the benefits of a RAW file. You saw how blown out that was. Let me go back to that. I mean, that's most of the sky is blown out. But when I drop the highlights to -100, which is a lot, but you can see I've only got a few patches of that left. So I've recovered a ton of data. The other thing though is that when you drop highlights -100, you start to get a little bit darker stuff here, and it looks a little cloudy, it looks a little discolored, that sort of thing. So I think you do need to be careful, because what I think a lot of people do is they'll drop the highlights to -100, and then if it's not recovered, they'll say, well, let me drop the whites. And you start dropping the whites, and then the further you go on the whites, you're dropping that white point, and again, you're getting this kind of slightly discolored kind of look, which it can work in some images, but for me, I'm not a big fan. And so I tend not to do too much on those two tools. And for me, the way I prefer to start when I have a really blown out photo like that is actually just to take the exposure slider and go left. So now when I do that, you can see I'm dropping the exposure everywhere. So every pixel is getting darker, but that includes the ones that are blown out. And again, because it's a RAW file, I've got a lot more data. So now as you look at it, I've recovered a massive amount of that sky, and I've, a little bit more than one stop in the exposure drop. And then I take the highlights down, and wow, that looks fantastic. And at this point, I'd probably come back, add some shadows, add a little bit of contrast, maybe a little more shadow, maybe even bring the exposure back a little bit, but you got to be careful. That's why I leave the J key on. You see, as I start recovering or pulling the exposure back, I'm getting more and more of that in the sky. So I like to find the point where it's basically gone. And then I want to come back and play with the whites, because I want to set my white point so that I have like the whites look white and not muddy in my photo. So this is kind of what I call the delicate dance of editing, where I start lifting the whites so that the overall whites across the photo, including in the sky, look real and look white. But if I go too far, I start getting more highlights, or blown out parts, I should say. So I'm going to come back with the highlight slider. This is where that push and pull, or that dance of editing, comes into play. But if you look at the before and after, completely blown out in the sky, but because it's a RAW file and the J key trick allows me to see where it's blown out, I've now got a much better looking image. And that's a really good place to start. Now, there's a number of other things that I do, like to do, will do, and often do in photos, but that's a good place to start to really get me started. After that, I do like to go into super contrast, and that's because specifically it has a highlights contrast. Now, I've already recovered the highlights as I showed you, because if I hit the J key, and yeah, it's on, you're not seeing any of that red overlay. Well, okay, technically you're seeing it down here in these little street lights or car lights in the distance. we don't care about that. But the reason I like to use super contrast next is because this highlights contrast. It's giving me even more control over that sky because the highlights are primarily in the sky. Notice as I move the balance, I'm getting more blown out, so you got to be careful. And then I like to come into midtones because this can have a huge impact on the light in the photo. And the beautiful part about this tool is that it's allowing you to control the contrast, the difference between the bright and the dark, in 3 major tonal areas, right? The highlights, the midtones, and the shadows. So I like to do that as a second step and then just come in and kind of get my light the way I want it to look. Let's say that's where I am before and after. But if you look at the overall before and after, before, after, using the J key as a guide and shooting raw has given me so much data, I'm actually able to recover what I thought was a lost cause, right? It looked like that, where it looked totally blown out, but in reality, I've recovered it based on just a couple of tools and shooting raw and using the J key as my guide. Okay, now I've reset super contrast, so all I have is just what I did in develop. But here's a couple of other things that I like to do if for some reason I'm not still getting full control over that sky. Now, J key's on, so the sky is technically still recovered, if you will, but you may still want to control the sky. There's a couple of different options for you. The first one is I like to go into develop and get a linear gradient. Now, this will depend on the sky and whether or not you have stuff sticking up into the sky. In a cityscape like this one, which is Las Vegas, you do have stuff sticking up in the sky. You have the Cosmo and you have Paris, Las Vegas. But so be careful with what adjustments you make because it's going to affect everything in the range of your mask. And I'm going to make it kind of a broad mask. And what I want to do is maybe tilt it a little bit. I want to kind of err on the side of that upper left quadrant. But you can come in, maybe drop the exposure a little bit, maybe put on the highlights, maybe a little bit of contrast. You could even at this point go into maybe adding a little bit of warmth, maybe a little saturation or vibrance if you wanted to give a little bit more pop to that sky. But dropping a linear gradient into the sky, big change, right? Before, after. But keep in mind, because that gradient covered the tops of those buildings, it's also covering the tops of those buildings with that drop in exposure. So depending on the photo, that may or may not work. In a cityscape with buildings where you have this kind of jagged up and down skyline, may not work. Works okay here, but if you look at the top of the Eiffel Tower, there it's before and after, it's definitely darker. So that gives me a different idea, which is to go into masking and instead of a linear gradient, I also like to use Mask AI. If you click sky, it does a great job. I mean, it finds the sky, it's really accurate, and that's a great way to also control what you're about to do. And in this case, I'm going to do, let's say, similar adjustments. Maybe I want to go a little bit darker. Now, the difference here between this and the linear gradient, and this is why it depends on the image as to which one of these you may want to use to control that sky, but the first one, the linear gradient, it's going to fade the adjustment because I have that gradient edge. Sky AI, no gradient edge. It just makes a mask. It grabs the sky and you get 100% of this this exposure reduction. Let me show you across the entire sky. So there's no fade, no gradient, no blend, if you will. It's a straight 100% in every pixel that's been identified by that sky mask. And so you got to be careful. Now, you wouldn't go this dark, of course, because it's kind of ridiculous looking, but that also points out another thing, which is these edges are not super crisp. So be careful how much of a change you make. In this case, maybe drop a little bit of the exposure if you want to get a little bit more control over that sky, and maybe put on the highlights a little bit, right? And then again, you could come in and do maybe some temperature, tint, saturation, vibrant. I don't know. This is not really a color editing tool. Tutorial, but if you look at it, made a nice little impact on the sky before, after. So that's another way to go about it. Just get develop again where you can mask it, because remember, you can't mask develop raw because you're working on the raw file, but any subsequent use is kind of like above that, and so you can use that mask. And so linear gradient can work, sky mask can work as well. Now, going back to just what I did in Develop Raw, there's another idea, and it will depend on what the sky looks like and what colors are present in the sky. But you can go into color, and then you can go into the luminance of the blue. Now, there's some blue up here, but this can create a little bit of nice contrast in the sky. So if you look at that, just look at the sky. I'm dropping that luminance to -100. It's darkening that area, but again, I need to go mask it. So this is, again, a choice. Do you want a linear gradient or do you want a sky mask AI? I'm going to go with linear gradient here, and I'm going to drop it something like that so I kind of fade that effect. But that's a nice way to control that as well, right? Where you're getting a little bit more contrast in that part of the sky by darkening the blues. Now, maybe not 100, but maybe negative 50 gives you a nice little pop there. Before, after, before, after. This will totally depend on what colors are present in the photo or the sky specifically, and also where they're positioned. Like in this case, the blue is kind of in that upper right corner, and so dropping a linear gradient over there gives me a nice little bit of contrast. It's also a nice way to control the light in the sky as well as the color. Now I'm going to reset the adjustments back to the original, and here's another idea for you if you have a blown out sky, and that is to take that single exposure, drop it into HDR merge, because the tone mapping algorithm can have a huge impact on this as well. I'm going to click merge. We're going to pop over here to this photo, and I'll show you, and there it is. Now I'll go into develop. Remember, it's not a raw file anymore. Once you drop it into HDR, it becomes a TIFF file. So here we are. Look at that. I'm going to hit the J key, and you'll see, look at that. Remember, on the original raw file, red was everywhere. You couldn't see anything in the sky. Now, a tiny bit of red, and I still need to do some work here, right? I need to adjust the highlights. You might want to play with the whites. You're going to want to, play with the contrast. I might even drop the exposure a little bit, and then maybe come in with some saturation vibrance. I'm just kind of making up the color parts of this because it's not really part of my original plan here. I'm going to turn off the J key so you can see better. But look at that. All I did was drop it into HDR merge. It completely saved the sky for me, right? There's the J key. The blue overlay, by the way, is just really, really dark, kind of black. But I could fix that if I wanted to get rid of that by lifting those shadows. But I don't really care. I like having a little bit of shadow. I'm going to turn that off, but you can tell in the sky, completely recovered the sky, added a nice pop of color, but before and after. So HDR merge is an idea if all the other stuff that we talked about first doesn't work for you. Plus, if you're like me, you just kind of like HDR. So if you guys still shoot HDR or use HDR merge, let me know in the comments down below. I'm working on some stuff around HDR. I use it all the time. I love it. I'll be back with more about that. But that is an idea for you. If you don't feel like you can recover, or you don't like the results, or you actually just can't recover it with the first methods I've talked about, try HDR merge on a single exposure. It works a lot of the time because the whole point of that tone mapping is it evens out the tone and the distribution of light across a photo, so it kind of flattens the image, which is why you need to come back with contrast and things like that. But it helps you a lot with those blown out skies. Works so much of the time. And now I'm back to my original, and here's the last thing I might try. If I've gone through everything and I've still got a blown out sky, the Hail Mary, if you will, is Sky AI. Just do a sky replacement. You can go in and pick a sky, and I'm using some of my own skies from my own sky pack here as just examples, but it does a really good job of layering in that sky for you, giving you a nice bunch of options. I tend to kind of click through, kind of see what I like here, but just find something that you like. That one doesn't look so good. That one's a little dark. That one's pretty nice. And you notice it picks up the reflection in the water and that sort of thing. So again, this is just from my own sky collection, but if you look at the before and after, that is definitely the final Hail Mary kind of move I would do if my sky was completely unrecoverable. Put it in a new one, have fun with it, get creative. And that's, to me, a lot of the power of Luminar is there's so many different ways to skin a cat, if you will. So many things you can do to fix a blown out sky. Lots of different tools, masking tools, different editing tools like super contrast, that sort of thing, HDR merge, and of course, sky replacement. So many different ideas. Hope this has given you some ideas, my friends. Check out my free Luminar Neo editing guide at the link below. And I'll be back soon with more videos. You guys take care. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. And until next time, adios.